Bonjour. I noticed you from out there, and I noticed you have a nice shed.
Actually, this is not a shat. This is a cat. C-A-T. And his name is Arthur Any More Mice.
Well, monsieur, you may call it a shed, but I would call it whatever I want because there is no intrinsic meaning behind the word shat or cat. My apologies.
Well, Frenchie, my name is Levi Strauss, and I'm the major promoter of a philosophical theory or movement called Structuralism.
Oh.
Let me tell you how it works real quick.
Please do.
Of course I agree with you in saying that the word that we use to represent this object, or the signifier, is arbitrary. The word that I use to represent this object, in this case a cat, you can call it whatever you want, whether it's a cat or a shat or whatever you want. The words that we use to represent this object are arbitrary and culturally constructed. But the actual object itself, or the signified, is not arbitrary and it is not culturally constructed. The object, or reference point in itself, has a fixed center, has a fixed meaning, and is universally known. What did you say your name was again?
Well, my good friend, my name is Derrida, Jacques. Perhaps you have heard of me. And, well, I would agree with you that the signifier is in fact completely arbitrary. But I would go one step further and push you in saying that the signified as well is completely arbitrary.
What? Of course the words that we use are culturally constructed to represent this object, but how can you go and say that the actual signified or the object is arbitrary? What do you mean by that?
Well, see, you are appealing to Western metaphysical notions that there is a fixed center out there for all objects. Now this stems from the Platonic ideals that all objects are transcendentally signified. Would you not agree?
Go on.
Well, the problem is that you cannot prove the transcendentally signified without deferring to other words. And thus, in essence, the transcendentally signified remains unknown. And, well, meaning becomes very slippery at this point.
So Derrida, let me stop you here for a second and let's backtrack, just so I can make sure that I'm understanding you. We're both in agreement that the actual text, or the words that we use to represent this object, is arbitrary. I can call it a cat, you're French, you call it a shat. We're both in agreement that the word we use to represent the object is arbitrary.
It carries.
But you're saying that the actual object itself is arbitrary. And the reason why you're saying that is because I'm attaching a transcendental or an external reference point for meaning for this object. But I cannot show you or prove to you this external reference point. There is no center and there is no fixed point. In the West, we have attached metaphysical meanings to our words when these metaphysical concepts do not exist. Therefore, for me, this object, which I call a cat for whatever reason I want to, is small, fluffy, and furry, and I love them. But for you, since there is no fixed point, or there is no center of reference of meaning, you can make the cat whatever you want it to be.
Strauss, my man, you get me exactly. You know, you are like a bottle of Chardonnay with a fresh baguette. My point has been made because, for me, you know, this could be a cat just as well as yours.
So now I have two cats.